Hello, daughter. Hello, granddaughter.
Hey, Mom. Hey, kiddo.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty
Both of
good. How
y'all.
are you?
Good, good, good. Both of you are just now getting back settled in for home from trips. So that must have been pretty exciting.
Yeah. I went on a trip with six strangers and stayed in a
Okay.
house, and we went to Curacao. And that might be a topic for another time, though. But
Yeah.
all in all, it was good. But we had a little bit of drama, little drama.
Oh, just a little drama. Okay.
Oh yeah, that could be a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time, I did not unpack literally like as soon as I got back. 'Cause normally, I'm big on like I unpack as soon as I get back, but like for the first time, I've just been really slow about it.
Oh.
And you had two luggages? Two?
I did have two luggages.
Okay.
I was gone for like a week and a half. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
All right. Very
and I
good.
took off my work clothes in addition to my
Oh, okay. That's right.
Work
You
clothes meaning cute shirts.
cute shirts, cute tops.
in my comfortable shorts.
Yeah.
Okay. So very good. It's good that you all have a good time and you experience some new stuff and now you're back and
Well,
we're
where you
at
at,
it
Mom?
again.
You in
Huh?
Hawaii? Where you
I'm
at?
in Trinidad
Oh,
on the
Trinidad.
beach. Long time ago when I was teaching at Webster Career College, there was a young man in there from Trinidad. And he used to tell me all the time, oh, Miss Farouk, they would love you in Trinidad. I said, okay, then I have to go. So
Finally made your way out there.
now that Simi's grandmother is from there, I told her that I would be going back with her. I would be going with her the next time she goes and everything is lifted and we're able to travel.
Okay.
Because that's where she's from and she'll know the little nooks and the crannies.
No nooks and crannies. Okay.
Yeah, nooks and crannies. Get the real feel.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, today's topic is imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I didn't think that was a thing, but sometimes people have these feelings, they just don't know what the word is to put to it.
Mm-hmm.
And once I learned that term and I know what to put to it, I mean, I knew to put that word to a feeling that I had at some point in time. I just wanted to ask you all, do you think that imposter syndrome is something that you put on yourself, or is it something that the way that other people make you feel?
Mm. That's an excellent question.
I actually did a study on imposter syndrome,
Oh.
Okay.
and it wasn't specifically on imposter syndrome. It was about um, Black students' mental health in college,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very real phenomenon. Many experts have proven that it can be very detrimental to one's health. In
Mm-hmm.
addition, with a few other factors as well. Um, those names kind of escape me at the moment, and maybe I can like look up that PowerPoint really quick while somebody else is talking and kind of just like speak on some of my findings. But it's definitely a very real thing, and it's not just something that individuals put on themselves, especially given, kind of preconceived notions that people have about Black people and them not being capable or being lazy or unintelligent. Um, those are often projections that other folks put onto Black people. And so I'm not saying every case, not everybody's doing that, but it's a very common thing.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Um. I think it's. I think it's what you put on yourself, but I also think that it is you're putting it on yourself because you have this preconceived notion that people aren't going to think you're as good as you are, or you're as good as, or that you deserve to be in that room or in the place that you've made it to. I think that you just have some sort of guilt, like maybe it's too good to be true. Maybe that you're in, this certain job, you got a certain job, and you attribute it to luck instead of, your hard work, dedication, and education, or your skill set or whatever. And I think that a part of that is like, maybe, yeah, maybe you think that everybody else. Let me back up. It's my understanding that people who are super intelligent believe that everybody around them is super intelligent, and so when there's somebody there who's like, not feeling like they don't belong or whatever. Like say the person with imposter syndrome is thinking, okay, we've all made it to this point. There's no way I'm as intelligent as them, and they just have this doubt about it, and they might be thinking that the other people is thinking like, what are you doing
Thinking
here?
that about them.
Yeah. So I think you put it on yourself, really.
Yeah. So imposter syndrome is an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be.
Oh, okay. A
So
little
it's
bit
that
different
internal
than,
thing that you put on yourself that
yeah.
that you believe that you're not as competent as others believe that you are. So
Mm.
you can be on paper, you look real good, but once you look at that paper, those are things that you did. But to you, you feel like, as you say, you put it on yourself, I could not be this good. I
Like,
can
is
really
that me?
good. Like, is that me?
Looking at your resume, I did that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So, and it also says that it's a trait, or it's a personality trait of perfectionism. People that
Oh,
try to be perfection, and it also can come from your family background if your family put achievement or above all else. So,
mm.
so you can kind of feel like you're an imposter because you maybe not achieving like your family. Your family would want you to.
Yeah. Or
Like,
even if you've gotten to a certain level to where your family might even think, oh, you made it, you're a doctor or something. You're still thinking, but I'm not this type of doctor. I'm not a doctor who's written these many like articles or, you know, peer reviewed, whatever, you still don't think it's good enough, whether, and it could be that growing up you had like a high achieving parent or high achieving sibling that the parents put on a pedestal, or like your parents were, say you had a parent who was a doctor or whatever. So, they always put, education at the forefront, and you have to get all A's and that sort of thing. And it was never good enough if you got a B or something like that. So then when you are an adult and you made it to a certain point, it's not going to be good enough. Like you hear this voice, whether it's your parent or just you doubting yourself,
well, have either of you ever experienced imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I would say that I have. But before I speak on that, I did find my presentation from 2019, May 2019.
Oh,
And
what were you, a sophomore?
yeah, I was a sophomore.
You want to share
Um,
screen?
sure, you have to, I think you may have to give me that permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a presentation that I did. It's going really slow, probably because I'm sharing my screen now. But this was just a presentation that I did for one of my writing classes. And we could literally just do a topic on whatever we wanted. And so this was something that I felt was important. And so I did my own study. And then I also supplemented that with some studies that had already been done. So yeah, so I personally interviewed just 10 Black students on campus. And so just the average current state of mental health rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being fantastic, 1 being depressed. The average rate was a 5.1, and I
Wow.
deemed that to be pretty low. Even I remember when I did this presentation, somebody kind of rebutted and was like, oh, how is 5.1 considered low when it's in the middle? And I just feel as though the scale that I determined in my head was like 7 or better, was like kind of decent. And that's typically like given studies on a scale of 1 to 10. there's some scientific understanding that like 7 is actually kind of thought of as average. And below 7 is thought of as less than average. So this was the average mental health. And then I kind of talked about racial disparities, talked about the racial disparity with imposter syndrome. And so it refers to internal sense of intellectual phoniness, which is correct. I think I kind of understood your question, Grammy. I think I kind of understood it in a different way, in that I felt as though it is not, I don't think like mental health issues are all on the individual person. Like I think sometimes some people do have like chemical imbalances and things like that, which they can't help. But I think that my understanding of imposter syndrome, even like in addition to the actual definition, is that there are a lot of outside forces that really influence those internal feelings. And like you said, Mom, like, you know, having a sibling that was very successful and your parents put them on the pedestal. And then, of course, like I said, those stereotypes that are kind of tied to Black, Indigenous people of color, things like that. So it doesn't, they aren't created in a vacuum, basically.
So do you feel, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Do you feel imposter syndrome is a mental health issue?
It is. And it definitely is. And I actually cover it in this slide, in this slideshow.
I didn't think it was.
I don't think it was either.
It basically leads to mental health issues.
I can see where it might, as far as it's not in the books as a mental health issue, but it can lead to low self-esteem and something else in that area, which is in the books as a mental health issue.
Well, actually, my understanding is it is not connected to esteem at all. That's my understanding, that it is not connected, even though you would think so, because you're like, clearly I'm not as smart as the rest of the people, or I don't deserve to be here, or the phoniness that you like. The jig is that when are they going to figure out that, you know, I'm phony or whatever. That seems like that would be a self-esteem issue, but from my readings, it's not connected to self-esteem. Yeah,
that seems like it would be, because you are not giving yourself the credit that is due. Because like I said earlier, if you have a resume and you have all those skills on the resume that you truly did, but you're still feeling as if you shouldn't be in that position, that seems to me would be something with your self-esteem.
it's like it tips the scale of modesty.
Okay.
You know, like you're trying to be modest, you know, you're like a modest person might say, oh my gosh, did I do all that? Or no, I don't deserve this award. Or why are they giving this award to me? Somebody modest might say that, like, wow, I'm sure there's other people who did way better, bigger things than I did. But then once it tips the scales to, like it was said that Maya Angelou, she had just written a book at one point and said, she thought that, she's like, I wonder if this will be the time that they realize I'm a phony. Like she had some imposter syndrome, you know, she had a little bit of imposter syndrome. So it's like that fine line there with modesty and imposter syndrome.
Okay. So maybe it, well, did you know there's an institute, a imposter syndrome institute?
No, where's it located? Yes. Minnesota?
I'm not sure where it's located, but I was looking at something, and Valerie Young is the co-founder of the Imposter Syndrome Institute. She did a 6-minute TED Talk on imposter syndrome, and that's how I found out that there was an Imposter Syndrome Institute. I'm thinking, and it started like in 1985 or 86 or something like that. I'm thinking, wow, I didn't know that went way back then, you know. So sometimes they say ignorance is bliss. So because I didn't know anything about that, or what that, didn't have a name to put on it, you just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
You know, that's like people being depressed and not know that they're depressed. They just think, oh, I'm just not feeling good today. I got the blues. I'm I'm feeling the funk or something like that,
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a imposter syndrome institute. So evidently it's something that people really feel that they don't maybe deserve, or they shouldn't be, or in that place, or they're feeling like a fraud.
Mhm.
So I think feeling like a fraud is probably a little strong,
No, I think that's what it is.
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that still feel like that seems really, you cut me deep, when
You
you
don't
say
like that word.
I
no.
feel
But
like
go ahead,
I
Glenda.
feel like you never really understand it until and unless you experience it. And I feel like, some other folks, I mean, I feel like the same thing could be said for some other like diseases that are actually, actually mental health conditions that are actually in that book that you were talking about, Mama.
Mhm. The ICD
Um,
and something else.
The
and
DSM. Yeah.
yeah, the
It's
DSM.
something else. I forget what the
Yeah.
other is.
And so like I know that there's a condition where, people have an irrational fear of many holes. And that's a real
Of
that's a real,
holes.
of holes. People have an irrational fear of holes.
HOLES.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Um, clustered together, and they get very like things like beehives.
I was
Um,
thinking of that. I was
or
like, ooh, that would freak them out.
yeah, really freak them out, and they're really, really terrified.
mm.
And there are people who are rationally scared of children, of babies.
Oh
And so,
wow.
of course, like,
My
you
goodness.
can't, yeah, you can't really understand it until you've actually experienced it firsthand. And
Mm-hmm.
me being someone that has experienced it firsthand, I don't think I have a low self-esteem at all. I think I'm a very confident person. I think I carry myself with actually a lot of esteem.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel that I definitely have experienced imposter syndrome, and which ties into this idea of stereotype threat, which is having a heightened sensitivity regarding negative stereotypes associated with a social group such as race or gender. And so, like I was saying, imposter syndrome is disproportionately, it affects, people of color and Black people and Indigenous people, because there are more instances of stereotype threat that they feel that they have to face, and especially
Mm-hmm.
in society being at the bottom rung of the social ladder. Um, and so this was just another statistic that I did with my study of 10 Black students at UCSC. And I asked, do you feel as though you have to act different from your normal personality around people who are not Black? And so that just ties into the stereotype threat. 70%, 7 out of 10 of them said that they feel as though they have to act different from who they are. And then weathering is just the combination of mental health issues piled on top of each other. And that's when mental health becomes a concern. Um, and so basically, imposter syndrome and stereotype threat lead to weathering, which is the deterioration of one's mental health.
Mm.
Lead to things like depression and anxiety, and things like that. And I feel that, I mean, I've talked about it before. I feel as though like my experiences in college have even, um, let's just say I came away from college with more than a degree. And I feel like I kind of walked away with some mental health, concerns as well,
Oh.
which is not an uncommon.
It'll take time. I'm almost sure for everything to get filed in the proper place in your brain. That's where meditation comes in,
Mm-hmm.
or allowing the now time. I was in a group the other day, and she always talks about allowing the now time,
The
which
what
could
time?
now, NOW,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be just 5 minutes. Just stop and let things just kind of settle. At first, I was thinking, you set a time to do it, like a lot of people set times to do their meditations. You just set that time. So I was thinking, okay, let me set this time at 4:30 so I can do my allowing the now time. But on one Wednesday, I was like, just in and out of Zoom meetings and doing things and stuff like that. And about 4:30, the time that I had set to do my allowing the now time, my brain was like frazzled. And it came to me, I was so ready for that 5 minutes to 10 minutes of now, allowing the now. I thought it came to me like, you don't have to wait until 4:30 to do this. you know stop if you feel like you're frazzled. Stop earlier and take you 5 minutes.
Mm,
And because she didn't tell us to do it for 30 minutes or an hour, that's what allowed me to think I could do it 5 or 10 minutes. Just
mhm.
allowing the now. Just stop.
I love that.
Yeah, just allowing the now. And so she calls it allowing the now practice. That's what she calls it. So that's what I've been doing. Sometimes I'll get frazzled or something, and I'll just stop and close my eyes. And it's a form of meditation, but it's not a guided meditation. And because I don't like alarms, I'll go on YouTube, which is one of my best friends.
Mhm.
And I will go on YouTube and find a 5 minute um, music, you know. And then once it stops, then I'll know my 5 minutes is up. So I don't have to worry about being jarred out of
Mhm.
my time.
Or peeking at the time and 2 minutes
Peeking at the
pass and you're like,
time,
oh
breaking,
shoot.
yeah,
Yeah,
break
breaking
what's
up.
going on and stuff like that.
I just
So
wrote this down that we need, that's a discussion we should have, the now time or manifesting or law of attraction or meditating. That's a good discussion to
I
have.
think that would be a good one, especially with Osaka doing what she did for her meditation and Biles doing what she did,
Mm,
not meditation, but her mental health and
mhm.
Biles. I think that's a very good, and I believe
It's
that
good
is something
timing.
that, yeah, I believe that's something that women especially need to learn how to stop just running around doing for others all the time and take some time out for themselves and recognize when you need to take that time. That's why I was so glad that the facilitator in that group that I was in, which was called Clearing Clutter, and not necessarily piles of junk, but
Mental
clutter
clutter.
in mind, mental clutter. And so that's why I was so glad that she said 5 minutes, because I was thinking I don't have time to stop for
Right.
no 3 minutes. I got stuff to do. I got a Zoom to jump on. I got a project I'm working on. I need to go somewhere. So she said 5 minutes. I'm thinking I can do that. I can do it periodically during the day. But anyway, that's kind of off the subject, but that'll be a subject. That's a good one.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one.
Hmm. I think
So,
that I've had some, what is this topic again?
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I think I think I've had that a little bit too. More so in the past than recent time. I was, just trying to get to a certain place in my career, and I kept on like just really trying to get there and get there. And I kept saying, why haven't I gotten to? Why didn't I get a promotion yet? Why aren't people noticing me in that way to be, in the management chain or at this level or whatever? And I just started to doubt myself and start to think that, well, I'm in a, I was in like mid career level. And so I was like, well, I didn't want them to determine what my career was going to be. Sometimes people like see you in a certain place. And so they don't want to see you, your goals are up here, but they see you right here. And, sometimes they're making the decisions and they don't see you where you see yourself. So I was just like, I'm not going to let them determine where I get or whatever. But then as soon as I did get this promotion, not the current one, but the last one that I got, I was like, oh, shoot, like, I got it. Am I supposed to be here? Like, am I going to do this right? And I don't know if that's imposter syndrome, if that's more just like nerves about a new job or whatever. But, I did feel that when I was in like meetings with my peers and some folks who are, like in higher positions than me, I always felt like I was the bottom rung, like you were saying, of the ladder. I just felt that way, not because I was black or anything, but because there are other black people in there. But I would be like, I feel like their jobs are more important. They're, you know, at certain levels and all this stuff, and I would just doubt that I would even that I belonged in there and stuff. And I was just quiet and would just listen, even though I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew, if you asked a question about my job, I know it inside and out. But I just kind of had like a doubt, and I was just very quiet about it and wouldn't highlight like a lot of the achievements of my staff and stuff because I just, I don't know, just didn't seem like they would think what I was doing was as important as theirs. So I just let it go, and didn't want to highlight it, I guess.
Okay. I felt imposter syndrome as well. Someone asked me, was I a coach? And, there's a life coaching going on. Seems like everybody's a life coach. And I told them no. But however, once I start talking, people tend to listen, and some people tend to act on that. And so she said, "Oh, that's a real good answer." I said, "However, I don't listen to myself." So that's so that sometimes makes me feel like
Mm,
imposter because people will listen to what I say, but I
mm,
won't listen to what I say and do it like they do.
mhm.
So sometimes that does make me feel like an imposter because they're, oh, you told me to do this and I did it and this wonderful thing happened. And I'm thinking, well, why haven't I done that myself then?
Why didn't I do it?
Why didn't I do it? You know? So yeah, so sometimes I do feel that way, but I know that it doesn't bother me a lot that that happens. It'll just come to me every now and then that you're not listening to the things that you're telling other people. And if you did, you might be a step ahead of where you
Mm.
are, a step closer to where you really want to be. So I saw this, heard this quote that said, what we say to ourselves is more important than what we tell ourselves. Like,
Oh, say it
yeah.
again.
So what we say to ourselves is way more important than what we tell ourselves. Because
Okay.
we can say I am this and I am that. That's more important than in your mind saying, you don't know what you're doing.
Telling yourself that.
But
Yeah.
you're telling yourself that. So I'm thinking, okay, I understood that. And why do I understand that so
Hmm.
clearly?
I'm gonna
But
write that
yeah,
down. I like that.
yeah. So I have experienced that, but like I said, I don't let it bother me to the point that it maybe stops me. I continue because that's a part of my personality. I just accept that as part of my personality. I and then another lady told me I can look at you after and tell that you like to talk. No, but once I get started,
Hmm.
I'm not going to necessarily start it, but once I get started,
It's
I will
on.
talking about all kind of stuff because I've experienced a lot of stuff and and read a lot of stuff, been into a lot of Zoom things. And I tell people that once you get a certain age, you should know a little bit about a lot of stuff and a lot about a couple of things. And that's just how I am. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff. So we can have a
Mhm.
good conversation. I can tell you, this and that and stuff like that. But I just have not let that. I didn't have a name for imposter syndrome. I knew how I was feeling. And just recently that I knew that I learned that that's what that was.
Mm.
But I'm cool with it. Okay. I just have to build, either um, make myself believe, tell myself, say that to myself, and hear what I'm telling myself, and go on from there, and not let it bother me.
Mhm. I like this. This is a good topic because it definitely brings awareness to it. And like you said, there was no, like, I wouldn't have thought imposter. I'm an imposter.
Me either, or
Yeah.
fraud.
Or fraud.
Yeah, fraud. Yeah, I never would have put that on me. Is
Yeah.
that? But so okay. Do you have any closing nuggets or anything?
No, I don't. I like what you just said. What we say to ourselves is more important than what we tell ourselves. I think that's a good nugget to wrap up on.
Okay,
I had to write that one down. I like it.
very good. Because we're always telling ourselves stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, we can make up some good stories.
For
How
sure.
about you, granddaughter? You have anything else to add?
You're muted.
You're muted.
I was just saying I agree with mom. I thought that was a really good nugget to end on, and
Okay.
especially as it pertains to imposter syndrome.
All right, very good, very good. So there you have it. That's from the baby boomer, Gen Z, and Gen X. Dropping little nuggets for you and hope it helps you
Next.
feel a little better. Okay. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too. We'll talk to you later.